Welcome to the Little Beading Closet. I'm Sherry. Learn step by step how to make this amazing pillar pendant. The structured strength of the finished beadwork is unparalleled, and you will have no worries about it losing its shape. Let's look at the supplies and begin. The pendant is made up of size 8 seed beads. Today I'll be using TOHO in 2 different colors. This is matte galvanized starlight, and this is galvanized starlight. Both are a perma finish. You're going to need 23mm beads for along the edge, and today I'll be using these white pearls. I'll be using one 10mm pearl for the end, although you could use something a little smaller if you'd like. And for my size 15 seed beads, I'll be using these by Miyuki. I made my pendant using Wildfire today, and also a size 12 beading needle. Start by adding 7 feet of thread to your needle. So now I'll needle back through the 4 seed beads I just added, bringing this together. And to turn it into right angle weave, I'll needle through the very first one and pull tight. And you can see you have a nice right angle weave unit to start with. Since this is my first unit, I'm going to go ahead and needle back through my beads until my working thread and my tail are together. Now that my tail and working thread are together, I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 knots here. I'm only doing this here for the beginning. I will then needle into 1 bead past the knot. Now we're going to be picking up another size 8, coming out of this one, coming into the very next one. Again, adding 1 size 8 between 2 on the first round, 1 more size 8 into the next size 8 of the first round, again 1 more size 8 coming into the last 8 of the first round, and then step up into the first one that you added in the second round. You have just completed 1 unit of Pondo stitch. We're going to go back to the first color and pick up a total of 4 more seed beads and come back through the one that we're exiting. For me, it's going to be easier just to turn this in my hand. I'm going to come through the first one that I just added, picking up 1 of my second color, coming through the next one, picking up 1 of my second color, coming through the next one, again picking up 1 of my second color and coming through the next one and into the very first one. Now we have 2 units connected together. I need to needle from this point over here to this tip bead. Four more size 8 seed beads on my needle. I'll come back through this one right here. turning the work in my hand, needling through the first one, then I'll pick up my other color, picking up one and coming into the next, picking up one, coming into the next, picking up one, coming into the next, plus the very first bead. Now with 3 units connected, we just need to needle over here to the end. Now that we have 3 units of Pondo stitch made, we're going to do something a little bit different. We'll begin the same by picking up 4 of the size 8 seed beads and coming through the one that we're exiting. Now we're going to needle into the first one that we added, pick up 1 of your other color, and come into the next one. And at this point, I don't need my tail anymore. I'm going to go ahead and trim it off. So the bead that will go right here between these two is actually this one. So if you fold it together, you'll see that you'll be going through this one here, and then into the next one. So we're going to pick up 1 more. It's going to sit right here. So go ahead and come into your next one. Pulling everything tightly. And back through this one here. And now you have 4 units of Pondo stitch connected together. You'll be exiting here in the middle. And we need to come up to one of the ends. Now that I'm coming into the end, we need to make sure that we have a unit of Pondo stitch on this end and over here on this end. So picking up 4 more seed beads, I'm going to come back through the one that I'm exiting. And you have this little flap of 4 seed beads here on the end. Come into the first one and into the next tip of one of your units. Now we'll come into the second one and into the tip of our next unit. Again, we'll come into the third one and the tip of our next unit. And then we have our last one, come into it, and the tip of our next unit. So we have the 4 sides of Pondo stitch and 1 end. Now we just need to come down here and repeat the process for the other end. As soon as we do that, we'll have a very solid cube to work with. So go ahead and needle up through your work and coming into the next one, and then through the middle. And then I need to get into one of these tip beads. So I'm just coming through the next bead and line before the tip and then through the tip. I'm going to pick up my last 4 size 8 seed beads and come back through the bead that I'm exiting. And again, we have this little flap of beads that's going to sit here in the middle. Come into the first one that you just added, plus your next tip. Come into the next one that I added, and through the next tip. Come into the next one I added, and through the next tip. Through the last one, the fourth one, and the next tip. At this point, you're going to have a very solid cube that you can use as is, but now we're going to go ahead and add on to it. And pick up 4 size 8 seed beads and needle into the opposite side of the bead that I'm coming out of. Now that we're coming out of here, needle into the first one you just added. Pick up the other color, coming through the next one, picking up the other color through the next one, and picking up the other color, come into the next one, and I'm going to needle in through the one here on the base. So now we just attached another unit of Pondo stitch to this one, and we need to do the same over here. To get there, you have to come through 2 beads. So you'll come through the next one that sits sort of down there in the little valley, and then into the next end. Picking up 4 more of my size 8 seed beads, needling back through the one that I'm coming out of. On this one, on this round, you can see that this tip from this unit will actually go in here. Before we get to that point though, we come through our first one that we just added. Pick up your other color, coming through the next bead, picking up your other color, coming through the next bead, and you can also go through the tip here on this unit at the same time. And then through the next 2 beads, now you can see that you have another unit of Pondo stitch connected to the first one. And now we need to add one here on this end unit. So we'll be coming through 2 beads, one down here in the base, just before the one on the tip, and then through the tip. Picking up 4 more size 8 seed beads, I'll needle through the bead that my thread is exiting. So we're coming into the first one, picking up 1. So you're going to pick up 2 beads and then come through 3. So we just picked up 1, picking up 1 more bead, then we'll be coming through 3 beads. We just came through 1, then we'll come through this one here on this unit, 2, and then through this unit right here, 3, and back through the original base. Now we have to again repeat the process by putting another unit of Pondo stitch right here on this one. So we'll come through 2 beads to get there, 1 kind of down here on the base, and then up here through the one on the tip. So go ahead and pick up 4 of your size 8 seed beads and needle back through the one that your thread is coming out of. Now this time we only have to add, now this time we'll only be adding 1 size 8 seed bead. So come into the first one that you added and then into the tip of this Pondo stitch here. Coming through the size 8, and this is where we'll be attaching our 1 size 8 for this round. Come into the next size 8, through this existing Pondo stitch bead, and then back through our size 8, and through the one here on the base. So now you have almost completed 2 units. We need to come up here and add a little hat here on the end. So I'm going to needle up to one of these tip beads. So coming out down here, I'll just be needling up one at a time until I reach the tip. Now that I'm exiting the tip bead here, I just need to add the end. Go ahead and pick up 4 size 8 seed beads and needle back through the bead that your thread is exiting. So these are going to be sitting in here. Needle through the first one and the tip of one of your Pondo units. I'm going to needle through the next one and through the tip of another Pondo unit. And needle through the next one and then the tip of another Pondo unit. Almost finished. I'm just needling through my last size 8 and the tip of this next Pondo unit. Continue adding these cubic Pondo stitches until you have a total of 4 and your end is closed up. And you'll be exiting one of these beads right here. Now let's have fun and embellish it. Using size 15 seed beads and 3mm pearls, I'll pick up 1 15, 1 3mm pearl, and 1 15. And come into the next sticking out bead here. What's fun about this stitch is it gives you a nice little ditch to embellish. So again, with a 15 of 3mm pearl and a size 15 seed bead, I'm going to come into this next sticking out size 8 here. So now we have on 2 corners, repeating that by coming into the next one. And one more to finish it up. Now coming out of this bead here, I need to needle over to this one. You'll want to come into this one first, turning the work in my hand. I'll now come into this one. Pick up 115, 3mm pearl and 115, and come into this bead right here, pulling it into place, repeating that down here along the edge. One more time, coming into this bead. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the end, coming through this bead first, and then through this one here at the end. So again, with your 15 3mm and 15, coming through, repeating that process here at the end, putting on the 3rd pearl and the last one. Exiting here, I'm going to just have to needle over to this one by coming through this bead first, and then into the one on the edge. So you're just going to be putting a 15 3mm pearl and a 15 in this little ditch here all the way down. And into the very last one down here. Now with these 2 corners complete, we have to do these 2. So with my thread coming out right here, I'm going to needle around until I'm coming out of here. Coming through this one and directly into this one beside it. Now I can step into this one here, and I'll be ready to add the edge of pearls. Adding 1 set, 2, pulling tightly and pushing them into place if you need to. With the last set on my needle, I'm going to come into here. Make sure I push everything into place, and then I have a nice edge here. Now we just have this last edge to go. Coming through this one first, I can skip the one on the end. I can skip the one on the end and come directly into this one. Now we just need to get in position to add the pearls on this side by coming into this first one down here on the end, and we'll be putting the pearls along this edge. Again, with a size 15 seed bead, a 3mm pearl, and a 15 seed bead, coming into the next Adding my second set here along the edge, and my last one. So now you have this very solid cube. So now I'm going to go ahead and needle up here into one of these beads. Coming through here. And then into here. Then I want to come into one of these inner beads. Now that I'm exiting one of the inner 4 of this right angle weave unit, I'm going to just needle all the way through the center of this. I'm going to add a 10mm pearl down here at the end. So I'll needle through there. To get this to stay in place, I'll just pick up a size 15C bead and pass back through the pearl in the middle of everything to come back up to the top. Now that I have this thread coming out for the one strand of my necklace, I need to add another one coming out the middle also. You'll want to add a new piece of thread that is long enough for half of the length of your necklace. Begin by dropping through the middle of your work all the way down and come down and through the pearl at the end. I don't need to pull my thread all the way through. I just need to come back through the 15 and then come back through your pearl and through the middle of your pendant until you're coming out right up here at the end. So now you're going to take the thread with your needle on it, and you're going to knot these two together. I'm going to go ahead and slip off my needle and knot the two threads together. I'll go ahead and knot it twice. And pull tight. I'm finished with my tail. I'll go ahead and trim this off. And now you'll have the two strands for the end of your necklace. I'm going to go ahead and start my necklace by picking up 2 round 4mm beads and bringing them down near the pendant. I'm then going to take my other thread and come through the same 2 4mm beads, pulling on my 2 strings so that it's going to be centered here at the top of your pendant. And then I'm going to pick out some beads and work on a pattern for both strands of my necklace. I really like this pillar pendant on a long beaded chain. This one's long enough that I'll be able to slip it over my head and not add a clasp. So I will go ahead and knot my 2 ends together. With these size 8C beads, it's easy to hide the knot between the beads. So I will give it about 3 or 4 good knots and then take my needle and come away from the knot down through a few beads. I'll repeat that for both sides, pulling tightly. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the pillar pendant necklace. As always, I hope you have a beautiful day.